dedicated this event to the International World Freedom Day. We will celebrate it on 3rd of May. But also we dedicate this event to the journalists who gave their life to say the truth about the war, who worked in danger, and unfortunately they gave their life for their duty. Today we have very interesting and unique exposition. For the first time during the special military operation, we have collected, but not all of them, but only some of them, some people who were killed in Donbass, Novorossiya, but not only, and it's not only Russians. Here is, you can see Ukrainians, citizens of US, etc. They were killed by Nazist Ukrainian regime because they would like to say the truth. Talking as a journalist, because I worked as a journalist 15 years, I know this very well. What I can see here in India on most popular channels, unfortunately, this is the point of view of the common West, as we call this. A lot of reports of CNN, a lot of reports of BBC, etc. Yes, we have some sources of information where you can take more or less objective information about the special military operation as an example. But to check the facts and not to take what is said to you as the truth, but always to check what you are hearing is the main point and main task for every journalist. I'm completely sure of this. So I would like to start our event from the minute of silence to give the honor to all these people who we are seeing here on the roads.
Открывается наша выставка проекта «Погибли за правду». Журналисты Донбасса и Новороссии, Херсонская, Запорожская, Донецкая агентство новостей и Луганский информационный центр вместе со мной ведут этот скорбный список. С 2014 года за право рассказывать правду о происходящем на земле Донбасса погибли 61 представитель медиа. Журналисты, операторы, звукорежиссеры, блогеры, авторы телеграм-каналов, водители редакционной машины, волонтер, распространявший газету, наши товарищи и коллеги. Причем их убивали как на земле Донбасса и Новороссии, так и в Москве, в Санкт-Петербурге. Террористы, диверсанты. Олеся Бузину в Киеве, в его родном городе, убили, потому что он задавал неудобные вопросы. В этом списке есть и граждане не Российской Федерации, даже гражданин США, которого замучили в Харьковском СИЗО. Фашисты убили его, потому что он пытался рассказывать правду.
2025, she condemned the murder of the Russian journalist. So you see, it's just several months between, but what we can do with this? Unfortunately, I think we cannot change this approach, this very strange approach, but we can keep in our memory what our comrades did for us and for all world society. So for now, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Anton Chermensky. Chermensky is the head of the informational department of the state agency Россотрудничество, and I think that Anton not only the head of the department, he is very famous journalist and editor in Russian TV. He worked many years working in the international Panorama. It's very famous and the most famous international program on the Russian TV. Anton, please join us and say some words, share your views on this.
And it's a great pleasure for me to talk to you because it's really unique opportunity. As far as I understand, I should say good evening. It's 5 p.m. there, and we here have a midday. Actually, as you probably see, and it's a little bit stormy outside. But I won't take too much time of your time because I will be more close to the point. As you all see, what we have here is actually monopoly on Western European, Western narrative and media perspectives. And as I see, we have a lack of information in India and even in any other country. And I don't really like when bureaucrats like me, when I'm standing here as a press secretary of Rossatujstvo, or Russian House, I mean the net of Russian houses. I'm more speaking as a journalist, but what I can be real, what I want to be, I want to be more helpful for you, actually, for journalists. And I would like our Russian house to be some kind of, I don't know, an entry point for you, for getting information from here, from Russia. I mean, alternative information.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting. I thank the Russian House, I thank the Russian Embassy for inviting me here and having me here as a speaker. Esteemed guests, esteemed colleagues, very glad to be here. I'm in Delhi for the last 1 year and a half, and I think my general takeaway is that, well, India is different. India is fascinating at the same time. It takes a while to adjust, it takes a while to get acquainted, to get to know people, to understand people, but once you do, I think I haven't met any people who are genuinely more warm and open and willing to help, and I've enjoyed my life here profoundly. I'm no military expert, I'm no war journalist, and not a war correspondent. I think there are people who are way better suited on this panel to talk about it, but I would like to talk about something that I'm dealing with in my area of work. I'm being the editor for RT, something that I see personally. So wars, in most cases, they unfold in the shadows, outside of the public eye, for obvious reasons. Governments and other actors present their own convenient versions of the events on the battlefield. They do it unchecked. We've seen this on numerous occasions, happening with the Kiev government, with the Kiev regime in Ukraine. We've seen this previously with the opposition and the militant groups in Syria. These are, well, these biased and distorted versions of events get first picked up by the national press, then by international media, Western media that is, dominating the global picture. And well, before you know, the global narrative is kind of fixed. The facts are set in stone. There is, like, for instance, a Wikipedia article on that event with just one word. And so anyone who questions it, anyone who has different opinion about the event is a pariah, a conspiracy theorist, right? And so Russia, in my experience, has been on the receiving end of this mechanism for the last decade, if not more. Now to war journalism. At its core, war journalism brings reality into focus, in my opinion. It kind of removes this fog of war for regular people. I'm, in my work, seeing the kind of the clips and the bits from reporting of our colleagues, my colleagues from the front lines, and they do get shared by regular people, the influencers from, from all across the international social media, from all the corners of the world. And, well, they're kind of wondering if the events on the ground in the Russia-Ukraine conflict are what they are told by the Western media, or even if the origins of the conflict in Ukraine is what their politicians told them.
Hello, this is Manish Shah. I work with TV9, and I have an opportunity to visit Russia, especially for the last 3 years, and I have visited more than 10 times to Donbass where actual war is going on. And every time when you meet friends, you be happy. But when you see your friends in the war, then you can imagine what kind of feeling I have. There are so many journalists and I can see them on the wall and I have worked with them. Some of them like Daria Dugina or Tatarski, I'm really grateful when I was there and I was covering my ground reporting that time. They really helped me. With your kind permission, can I say something in Hindi also? Thank you. मैं सबसे पहले भी आप सबसे कह दूं कि TV9 ने मुझे मौका दिया था रूस यूक्रेन वॉर को कवर करने के लिए और मैं वहाँ 3 साल तक गया, 10वीं बार गया। डोनबास के तमाम वो क्षेत्र यानी डोनेट्स्क, लुगांस्क, खेरसोन, ज़पोरिजिया जिनका नाम आप सुनते हैं, वहाँ के गली मोहल्ले तक मुझे आज याद है। लेकिन आज मैं आप सबके बीच इसलिए कहने आया हूँ क्योंकि बहुत सारे अभी जो आप फोटोग्राफ देख रहे हैं ये वो जर्नलिस्ट हैं जिनके साथ मैंने काम किया है। इसमें से बहुत से के साथ रहकर डोनबास के अलग अलग इलाके में मैंने रिपोर्टिंग की थी और स्पेशली दारिया और मैं दोनों प्रेस टूर में साथ थे। 1 हफ्ते तक साथ हमने जाकर काम की, रिपोर्टिंग की थी खेरसोन के इलाके में। उस समय खेरसोन का सिटी सेंटर जो है वो रसन आर्मी के कंट्रोल में था। उसके बाद दारिया और उसके फादर जब एक गाड़ी में थे तो यूक्रेन ने उसमें एक बॉम्ब लगा दिया और उस बम विस्फोट में दारिया मारी गई। और मैं वो जो आप फोटो सामने में देख रहे हैं बहुत टैलेंटेड जर्नलिस्ट थी और मैं आपको इतना ही कहूँ कि उसके मारे जाने के 2 महीने बाद उसका पहला बर्थडे था और दारिया दुगिन के फादर अलेक्जेंडर दुगिन जो पूरी दुनिया में चर्चित हैं वो उनकी मदद करते थे। और आप समझ सकते हैं कि एक माँ बाप को अपनी बेटी के मारे जाने के बाद जब बर्थडे मनाना हो तो कैसा होता है। उस समय मैंने उससे उनसे कहा था कि देखिए 4000 किलोमीटर दूर मैं इंडिया से आया हूँ और इंडिया में हम मानते हैं कि किसी की जब मौत होती है और सामूहिक मौत होती है तो उसका शरीर खत्म हो जाता है, आत्मा वही रहती है। और दारिया के मामले में भी यही है कि दारिया का जब तक लक्ष्य पूरा नहीं होगा दारिया की आत्मा रूस में ही कहीं रहेगी। आज 3 साल बाद जब मैं पलट कर देखता हूँ कि बहुत सारे साथी जिनके साथ हमने रिपोर्टिंग की थी वो नहीं रहे, तो इन सब के पीछे हर दिन जब मैं वहाँ से रूस से लौट कर घर आता था एंड देन मैं अपने परिवार वालों के बीच बैठता था तो मैं ही सोचता था कि इज इट वर्थ टू रिस्क माई लाइफ। और हर बार एक आंसर आता था कि कम से कम भारत के लोगों को मैं बता तो पा रहा हूँ कि सच क्या है। और सच ये है जो अक्सर वेस्टर्न मीडिया में आप देखते हैं वो नहीं, बल्कि सच वो भी होता है जब आप ग्राउंड पे रहते हैं। जब मैं कवर कर रहा था मेरे सामने एक बस जा रही थी, मेरी बस में 8 लोग थे और यूक्रेन की तरफ से मिसाइल गिरा, 8 लोग वहीं उसी समय मेरी आंखों के सामने जल के मर गए। उसमें एक 8 साल की बच्ची भी थी। लेकिन अगले दिन मैंने देखा कोई BBC, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स, वॉशिंगटन पोस्ट में कहीं कोई ऐसी खबर नहीं थी। तो मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि ये सच दुनिया के सामने लाना चाहिए और उस सच को लाने के लिए कई बार जान हथेली पर भी रखना पड़ता था। लेकिन मैं आपको एक बात कहूँ कि क्यों हम सबको गर्व होना चाहिए कि हम भारतीय हैं। दुनिया के दूसरे मुल्क जो हैं, चाहे वो यूरोप के कंट्री हो, अमेरिका हो, उसके जर्नलिस्ट भी रसिया आए। जो रसिया उस समय कवर करने आए वो आज वापस नहीं जा पाए। पिछले 3 साल से दे ऑल आर वेटिंग so that they can go back to their home, but they are sanctioned by their own countries. Can you imagine that Western countries are not allowing their own journalists who went and who visited those parts of Russia where the war was going on, and they are not allowed to come back. लेकिन मुझे भारत सरकार ने कभी नहीं कहा कि आप वहाँ क्यों जाते हो, बल्कि भारत सरकार या बहुत से लोगों ने कहा कि थैंक यू सो मच, आप वहाँ से रिपोर्टिंग कर रहे हो और अच्छी बातें बता रहे हो। सो मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ कि मुझे इस बात का जीवन भर गर्व रहेगा कि मैं एक इंडियन जर्नलिस्ट हूँ जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जोन में जाकर वहाँ पर सच दिखाता है और आपकी सरकार, आपके लोग, आपकी सोसाइटी इस बात को अप्रिशिएट करती है। यूरोपियन कंट्रीज जिनके जो चैंपियन तो बनते हैं फ्रीडम ऑफ स्पीच के, लेकिन वो अपने ही जर्नलिस्ट को ओन करने से मना कर देते हैं, उन पर सैंक्शन लगा देते हैं, वो अपने घर ना लौट पाए। दूसरी बात जो सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है कि जर्नलिस्ट मैसेंजर है और जब आप मैसेंजर को टारगेट करते हैं तो बेसिकली आप चाहते हैं कि आप वो सच ना दिखा पाए। जितने भी जर्नलिस्ट यहाँ मारे गए इन सबको ऐसा नहीं है कि युद्ध के दरमियान वो कैजुअली मारे गए, दे हैव बीन टारगेटेड एंड इट वाज प्री प्लान, एक्चुअली आप कह सकते हैं कि इट वाज अ मर्डर, क्योंकि इसमें यूक्रेनियन एजेंसी, यूक्रेनियन आर्मी टारगेट करती थी कि कहाँ पर जर्नलिस्ट हैं एंड देन फिर उसी हिसाब से उसको निशाना बनाती थी, या फिर जर्नलिस्ट की गाड़ी में बम लगाना, एक्सप्लोसिव लगाना, और ये सब होता था। हर बार मुझे ये लगता था कि मैं लौट कर आ गया तो ये भगवान की कृपा है, मैं लौट के आ गया, या फिर भारत में मेरे फ्रेंड्स के उनकी वजह से। दूसरी बात जो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है ये समझने के लिए कि वेस्टर्न मीडिया ऑलवेज ट्राई टू परस्यू विद देयर ओन एजेंडा। आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट एवरी टाइम दे आर wrong, but the fact is that each and every time they hide the truth. So this, as a journalist, it was our responsibility to show the world. Last month I had an opportunity to visit Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. The same day when the President Putin and President Trump were talking about that nuclear power plant. And I actually found lots of evidence that how the Ukrainians were targeting nuclear power plant, but I was really surprised that when IAEA DG Rafael Grossi visited that nuclear plant, he didn't see anything. Even the director of that nuclear plant gifted him a piece of missile, but he didn't mention anything about this in his report. So the question is, how much fair UN agencies like IAEA are neutral or fair, or they are giving truth to the world. So this is a collective responsibility for all the journalists around the world, that what is actually happening. Nowadays, when the US administration changed, President Trump is in power, some of the truths they all are admitting. While comparing, I always used to say that whatever today happened in Bangladesh in 2024, it was exactly happened in 2014 when the elected government was forcefully removed from Kyiv, and after that whatever happening we all know. And now already US administration has admitted that it was their role. तो मेरा कहना बस इतना ही है आप सबसे, हम सब इसमें से ज़्यादातर एक ही प्रोफेशन के लोग हैं, कि जब भी मौका मिले सच दिखाइए, क्योंकि बहुत सारा सच वेस्टर्न मीडिया आपसे छुपाता है, आपको नहीं बताता है। और ये मुझे तब पता चला कि मैं एक बार क्रेमलिन में था और क्रेमलिन के पास घूम रहा था, एंड देन आई रिसीव्ड अ कॉल फ्रॉम माय ऑफिस दैट Manish, we have just we are reading some news that that elite forces of Russian elite forces are arresting Russian army, and it was reported by none other than the very famous newspaper from UK. So and immediately what I did, that I started my camera and I was showing that you can see what is happening in Red Square. The people were enjoying, and I was telling my office that now you can see that who is arresting whom and how, what is actually happening. So the point is, like, each and every day you find lots of wrong information or incorrect information or misinformation about Russia. I'm not saying because I have visited Russia, I am saying because I visited Russia, I personally found what was happening there, what is the truth, and the most important thing, neither Russian embassy, neither Russian government or nor Russian army ever asked me that what I have to do. It was my own independent call, and I did my reporting, and I'm really thankful and grateful to the people of India who really loved and appreciated my reporting. But one thing I realized, that while reach out to the people or the readers, lots of our colleagues have lost their life. We asked to the UN bodies to take actions, because it's not in accident, it's actually a pre-planned murder done by Ukrainian agency against journalists, all those journalists who are covering in Warsaw. Thank you so much.
Hello, my dear friends. My name is Evgeny Davidov. I'm a reporter for channels Russia 1 and Russia 24. And I have been living in India and Delhi and working here for almost 2 years as a special correspondent for the main news channels in Russia. I tell Russian viewers about life in India and about relations between our countries. Before India, I worked as a reporter for almost 10 years. Ukraine, Syrian Arab Republic. It was work in the hottest sports of the planet. And you, all these guys on these sports, met some just on shoots, trying befriend and some. Boris Maksudov, correspondent for Russia 24, my friend, talented, curious, ironic, kind. He searched for the truth. There was humanity in his works, even in the world. It was great to listen to and to internalize the stories of civilians affected by the Ukrainian shells. He talks about the military in the trenches, not as a news reporter, but as a close person. Boris was killed by Ukrainian drone in 2023. It just dropped the mine. Understanding clearly that he's a journalist with a camera, with a microphone, the Ukrainian army bombed him. Since 2022, I have been on the front line from the day one. And this war is much more brutal than what I saw in Syria, for example. The Ukrainian army touched TV groups and even posted about it on the internet, on YouTube, for example. Russian journalists were forced to change their blue, bulletproof vest with the world press to bring clothing to be less noticeable in summer against grass and trees, and white, and in winter white color, the color of snow. That way there is a better chance to stay alive.
Privilege that you called such journalists or authentically for this proper platform. One thing which I would like to tell about definitely about Russian Indian, because I'm working over here from last 23 years and I'm from the Sadhana group. We have our group is of religious channels and we have 3 news channels also. And before 2014, I've never visited with any official trip to the foreign countries. After Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, when he became the Prime Minister, I visited the countries because earlier I did not wanted to go with such people who were more of I would say, they were more of just like a plastic material or they would say they were representing my country. Because my passport got very much respect after 2014 actually. Very small thing I would like to tell. US used to say that this country is everybody has a very special checkups over there. But I do wear all these things. Even in America, I did not take it out, and this was because of my Indian passport. So definitely, I do say that I, Honorable Prime Minister, at his Mr. Narendra Modi ji, I have got an opportunity. That is why I'm covering more of international countries with him. Recently, I've been to Saudi Arabia also. But one thing I would tell about Moscow as well as about Russia, you asked the question which I really want to say actually. When I visited Moscow last year and with the Honorable Prime Minister over there, I was taking some views about the people over there. I did not know suddenly because in Russia, likewise we see over here that this is police thana, this is a government building. In Russia, there is no building, basically boards over there, apart from the police, because the language also we are not able to understand. there was a building where I was, I was, having discussion with the people over there. What do you feel about India? What do you feel about Mr. Modi? What do you feel about Ukraine war? About Russia? What is Mr. Putin doing? And how do you feel? All this whole interview was been finished. Then two people, they were the travel military police actually, for the tourist military police actually. They said, please, can you go from here? I said, okay, so sorry, is it someplace? This is the KGB's office. If I would like to tell you, if you just imagine you go into the raw office over here, in just 2 minutes you'll be just removed from there. But they had so much of patience over there that I took whole, and I had an interview basically, and from there I did a PTC, I am going from this place, but this is the KGB's office, and there was no flag, there was a flag of basically the Russian government flag over there, but we did not knew that that was the KGB office. So this is about the independence, about the media in Russia. And just 3 days before, when I visited Saudi Arabia, I was just going to the hotel Ritz Carlton, where our honorable Prime Minister was staying there. So I just went out from there. In just a minute, a car stopped there and he said, "Sir, who are you?" I said, "I'm a journalist," because I'm in a proper dress, and for them it is more of basically they're working their dress code, which is like all the gown which they wear on. So they thought you were a journalist, but you're wearing this kurta. I said, do you have any problem that if I'm a journalist, I do have to wear a coat and a pant? Then it will be said that I'm a journalist. He said, okay, speak, okay, fine, please go. But this was the thing in Saudi Arabia. So, everywhere there is they say about freedom, but no. We got from the MEA, we got a list of basically, you can't move here, you can't move there. But in Moscow, we did not got any such list from the government of India as well as from the PMO or MEA.
Come together. And I think this bond, just the journalists and as media professionals, were carrying on for long years. One of the greatest person born in this country was Mahatma Gandhi, and he was a journalist. The second person, Jawaharlal Nehru, who built the modern country, in fact was in Prague in 1936-37. When Hitler's army was entering the Sudeten Park and capturing it, and the big powers were looking on and rather appeasing, he got so enraged, and none of the Indian media, as it is today, they were not publishing truth from inside the country, the post of speaking truth from outside. But it cannot happen. Truth has to have universal value, and therefore universal responsibility. Nothing is taught in this country about Gaza in that sense. So only two channels I watch nowadays every day, Russian TV and Al Jazeera. And this one gives me something where the human being is killing the other human being in Gaza, and the other place where the journalists go and check different small cities where people are being killed. So it's in this context, therefore, the truth and therefore Pravda and Izvestia are our contribution to humanity. And therefore they are true representative of the old, the ancient, which, for example, Viktor was trying to locate the icons. This is the Russian soul. If there is a Russian essence, Russian soul, it is looking for truth, which went beyond nations. And therefore, we are ashamed of the way Indian media was projecting from the beginning. I was watching, every day watching. No. So in this sense, therefore, my head goes down to this enormous responsibility, even if I am Indian, not Indian, that's not bad, as a human being. That's what Lenin used this word for the French communists in the 1920s. We call them our useful idiots. Idiots, but the truth cannot be deciphered by useful people. They are deciphered by these people who ultimately lose their life, not for themselves, but for us, so that we keep our responsibility to truth, to civilization, to that. Thank you so much.
It talks about the youth people, the young people of India, Russia, the young people, that Christian youth always uses, because you teach them also to balance different effects and for their approach to everything what they see around.
It says, "Sarvador par bahut tanav hai kya?" Pata. This is common people, journalists. Some of my friends have died in battlefield, including Afghanistan, and while reporting. Danish Siddiqui was one of them. who was killed apparently by Taliban by pointing at. Again, this was one thing.
Is that not just in press, but of course about young people in whichever profession they get into. It is very important to have credibility. Credibility is the key. And I think I keep telling my students, most of whom today don't go for journalism, also because other aspects of media has grown up dramatically. Media, they study, but they get into ad, PR, all sorts of things. But credibility is important everywhere. Just imagine every next day you get up and you see all the ads which were all the lies, and you're not able to believe any of that. If you're not able to believe any advertisement at all, why would you buy it? If you're not able to believe any press release which is given by any PR agency, would you believe that? What reason would you have to believe that? If everything the government says you have no reason to believe at all, will it work? Propaganda works in an atmosphere of trust alone. And even propaganda needs that credibility. And credibility is not easy of that. I think credibility is very, 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 very important. That's why the World Press Freedom Day is so significant. And as a journalist, I have also been in ground, but for the past 6 years I'm teaching now. We are always on the tenterhooks. All the time. We have seen also the movies which talk about these pressures. And the challenge always is to make sure it's not what you are saying or what I'm saying and what he is saying or what she is saying. It's not perspective, it's somewhere in the middle. And that being in the middle is very, very important. Very, 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 very important. And I would like to sort of conclude by bringing an example from Mahabharata, which is a very important Indian text. It is possibly one of the guiding philosophies of Indian civilization. There is the one part which is about the incident of Yudhishthir and his brothers, the Pandavas, basically going to the forest. Pandava, those who don't know, there were two factions primarily, five brothers were called Pandavas, and they were supposed to be upholding truth. And there were other Kauravas who were supposed to have sided with, which was not the side of the truth. Ultimately, Pandavas prevailed. So what happened is that they went into the jungle, and ultimately there was a very famous incident called Yaksh Yudhishthir Samvad. So those of you who have possibly followed that incident, it is a very critical incident which talks about the philosophy of life, which talks about how people should lead in different situations. And dilemmas that keep happening all the time. There are dilemmas every time. Yeah, whatever you do, you'll be full of dilemmas. It's difficult to call that thing. In the actual history Samvad, there are many conversations, but and there are other Samvads in case of Mahabharata, which also are very, very important, where you have to tell the truth. So, for example, in case of Yudhishthir Samvad, Yudhishthir, who is considered to be Dharmaraj, is considered to be the upholder of Dharma, upholder of truth. He tells things which needs to be told. He doesn't tell things because he has to get his brothers back or he has to drink water. And for that matter, ultimately when the Yaksh asked him that which of the brothers he wants one of them to be alive. He had two mothers. Pandavas were born out of two mothers. And the three brothers who were very, very powerful, like Arjun, the Indian knows Alasaman Nagar with Darshan friends will have difficulty sort of figuring it out, but still I'm trying to make it as sort of comprehensible as possible. So, of the two brothers, logically, Yudhishthir should have possibly gone for Arjun, who was a warrior of repute. He was an archer, very famous archer, possibly the biggest archer. Then there was Bhim. But he didn't go for those brothers, and he said that, give me one brother from the other mother, who was not just somebody who was really capable of waging a war, but he said, if I have two mothers, I from one of my mother, it happened to be one. So I think the other mother should also have one son left. Ultimately, the Yaksh finds it to be a very, very wise and very, very inclusive response, and it allows all the fighters. So I'm just trying to tell you is that truth is a difficult thing to hold. And we speak truth, you need courage. At times, courage which is not what you like. And there's another incident, I believe that's a very apt one. There is something called Vidur. About Vidur in Mahabharata, it is told that he always told what was necessary to be told. And that is important. The governments may not like it all the time. The people in power may not like it all the time. And there is no way you can always tell the truth when the people in power like it, because power has in its nature contradictions. Power always is full of contradictions. Journalists do not deal with contradictions. Journalists deal with truth. And I think I would like to sort of end this thing that I pay tribute to my friends who said. So I think it's an important occasion to pay them respect. And I think this is a role model story for every person who is aspiring to tell the stories in what they are. And that's what we do as teachers. That's what we do. We tell the students integrity, credibility, very, very important. And we have to stick with that.
I think 70s. In 80s, for example, it was there were 5 correspondents working here. Now, of us in India, we cover not only events not only in India, also in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, in South Asian countries. Now I'm here with my colleague Irina. She is on duty and following all the news at the moment, and I have an opportunity to be here with you. I'm very glad. Thank you very much. So, what I want to say is it was very interesting to listen to all of you, to find out about your experience. Very impressive, like my colleague Evgeny Davidov, when I found out about his tragic story about his captivity in Donbass. I could hardly, how to say it, keep myself from tears, because I know his wife, who was at the time with a little girl, 1-year kid, in Moscow, knowing about his captivity and how I think it's a scenario for a film. But luckily, everything ended, and we see him today healthy and the family is together. But unfortunately, we have such cases. It was not the only one. And why I remembered about this, that nowadays journalism, the profession of journalist has become a dangerous one. And unfortunately, the badge, the plate on your clothes with the word press doesn't give you immunity if you are in the region where the conflict takes place. And there are those countries where you can hear a lot of speeches about freedom of press, about democracy, about freedom of expression, but in the end, they ignore the terrible cases when reporters die in war. When Russian journalists die, they just don't pay attention to this. And it happens, unfortunately, in those countries who speak a lot about freedom of press.
I am basically now an independent journalist. I edit a news website, and I write on international affairs, I'm a political analyst, and I'm a travel blogger. I run a news website, as I just said, it's a digital platform. And My journey has been, it's a 20 and a half year journey in journalism, and it's been a roller coaster ride, of course, and lots of learning from local level to this place now as where I'm reporting on, writing on international affairs. About fact checking, I mean, there is a unit with me that fact checks. Nowadays, as social media is with all kind of stuff, which is not necessarily really true, and it's more of hype. So fact checking is, yes, very important, and in fact, the government PIB side has also taken up fact checking for that matter. But I think it's a real technical issue where I mean, lot of facts are verified through sources, through many people at the right places. That is how you actually check what the person is reporting or writing is true or not. And then there is this, and then it's also once something comes out in social media, it's that point of time when you need to fact check whether it is right or wrong. I think every outlet, every publication, every reporter for that matter, correspondent, writer, has to these days bank upon fact checking, because journalism at the end of the day is to get truth out and nothing but the truth. Although I still would say that lots of truth is compromised these days, and not everything that is right comes out, and there's a lot of things that are more opinionated, and which really dilutes the true story behind it. So that's from my side about fact checking.
Thank you, Ms. Priya.
Actually not really from media side. I'm a retired director. So after retirement I just started to write and also started doing different topics kind of things. And I mean, journalism was my favorite thing. So my hobby is kind of things, so I started doing. So today I'll say more about the topic as such. We want to say put some figures, facts and figures.